You guys gotta hear this one. I was watching David Icke video series now that someone just sent me, and I'm not a David Icke fan by no stretch of the imagination. He goes on talking about reptilians and all this nonsense. I'll get to that in a moment. But anyways, the maker of this video was interviewing the ADL in regards to whether or not they view David Icke as an anti-Semitic person, an anti-Semite, whatever. And the response from this woman is it just blows my mind. And you got to hear this.
David Icke will put his hand to his heart and say, I am not an anti-Semite, I have the greatest respect for the Jewish people, but the Jewish hierarchy, like Muslim hierarchy, the Christian hierarchy, and so on, they're 12-foot lizards.
Right.
Does that make him an anti-Semite?
I think it does. I think it does. I mean, the fact is that that's a favorite way of dealing with anti-Semitism. I only dislike these Jews. I don't dislike all Jews. I just dislike these Jews.
Wow. She's basically saying here, and the guy asked her a specific question, and he included the Muslim hierarchy, the rulers, the Christian, and the Jews. So he's not even saying that this guy's calling on specifically Jews. He's saying, going along with this bullshit myth, this lie that it's the elitists, that it's the Illuminati, this nameless and faceless group of people, these Christians and Muslims and Jews and blacks and whites and browns and reds and yellows, they're suddenly working together. So you have Christian elitists and Muslim elitists and Jewish elitists that are just working hand in hand. And that's the type of logic, or that's the leap of faith that people that will not name a particular group that's behind these things expects you to jump and take. They expect you to believe that all of a sudden these people are working together. Historically, it's never happened. These people have been killing each other for eons over these religious differences, but the ones at the top are working hand in hand. These wealthy people that got rich by cutting throats are working hand in hand suddenly, and that's what they want you to believe, as opposed to believing that it's a group, a cohesive group that has a common race, a common nationality, a common interest to a foreign nation, a common religion. That's what they want you to believe. They don't want you to think that these people with all these common interests are more likely to work together than these people that have nothing in common. Anyways, that's besides the point. What she's saying, even though this guy is asking her to direct a specific question, that when David Icke says that the Christian elitists, the Muslim elitists, and the Jewish elitists are 12-foot lizards, the point is that they're the ones that are in control, is that anti-Semitic. And she even deems that as being anti-Semitic. You can't even call Jewish people out. Let's just say that 9 out of 10 of them were not Jewish. If this whole bullshit thing was true, and it's not. But let's just say 1 out of 10 of the elites of the world were Jewish. You couldn't even call that 1 in 10 out, or you're an anti-Semitic. You can call the other 9 Christians and Muslims out, or Buddhas, or whatever the hell. You can call them out, and you're not going to be anti-anything. You're just calling it like it is. But the minute that you name that 1 Jew that's in charge, even if it's just 1, then you're anti-Semitic. As she says clearly, this is from the Anti-Defamation League, which is basically an organization that's there to protect Jews and Jews alone. Don't let the little verbiage in the back of their books fool you into thinking they're here looking out for everyone's interest. Again, we can all be racist towards each other, but Jews have their own special term, anti-Semite, anti-Semitic. And I'm going to go over this once again. The Department of State has 12 points that will deem any person that can think, that can even speak, that can view the world around them as being an anti-Semitic. And I'm going to list those again because apparently some of you are not getting the significance of the fact that they have a list in the first place, that the Department of State, the U.S. government, would protect one group from being called into question, not from being sent to gas chambers and all this bullshit that they want to perpetuate through their media, all these myths and lies that they hide behind. But we can't even say their name. And as I said, soon there will be punishments attached to this list that's already in the books. That is something that is beyond me, how any of you cannot see the significance of that, or if that will not let you see who truly is in charge.
way of dealing with anti-Semitism. I only dislike these Jews. I don't dislike all Jews.
I mean, she says that's a favorite way of dealing with anti-Semitism. As if anti-Semitism is a disease, as if it's something you're born with. You just wake up with it one morning and you don't like Jewish people. So a favorite way for you to deal with that sickness, as they try to make it out to be, is to just not like these particular Jews. Not the whole Jews. And she even says here that, you know, if you even state it's not all Jews, but it's just this Jew, it might even be one, but that's still, you're still classified as an anti-Semitic. This might be a mass murdering motherfucker, right? It might be Lenin, Stalin, or any of these other people who are responsible for millions of deaths. But if you even say their name, or if you even call them that in which they call themselves, Jewish, then you're anti-Semitic. No matter what they do to you, no matter who else is involved, you cannot point them out. It doesn't matter. That's what she's illustrating here. That is the belief and the stance that the ADL takes. And if you can't see that, I mean, it's everywhere you look.
Dislike these Jews.
And I listened to it again. You only dislike these Jews. Again, should you like those particular Jews? As I said, let's say it's 1 in a million Jews, okay? Should you like that particular Jew that's causing harm to you and your family, even if only 1 in 10 of the elites was Jewish? Should you like that one? Should we be able to criticize all of them but this 1 out of 10 elites that happens to be Jewish? Come on. Do you guys really believe any of this nonsense? Have you really looked for the truth? Have you tried to dig deeper? Or do you just pull up short because that's what's comfortable? Because you just have this block, this mental block that will not allow you to call these people into question because you've been brainwashed your entire lives. I had that same brainwashing. Don't get me wrong. I had the same mental blocks that kept me from questioning them. But when someone points things out as clearly as I've been pointing out, or as this lady demonstrates, or so many other things, and it's just in the face of that, so many people will still take this stance that Jews can do no wrong. And if you say the word Jew, you're a hateful anti-Semitic and you deserve to be silenced. I can curse George Bush all day. I can talk about black folks, and I did that initially. My black friends will remember that. I can talk about Muslims. I talked about them as well. No censorship, no problem. I've never preached any hate, but some people can preach hatred about whites, about blacks, about Muslims, about Chinese, about Mexicans. We can all go at each other's throats. But if you say the word Jew, even in a calm and factual manner, just to say, hey, that guy Lenin, he was a pretty bad guy. He killed a lot of people, and he just happened to be Jewish. But you know what? So did this one and that person and this person and Chertoff and Harmon and all these people that are doing these things right here and in the now. Forget about the past. Let's talk about right now. These people also happen to be Jewish. These bankers, this economic crisis, these things that we're all suffering from now. Forget about the past that we can argue about day and night. No one's ever going to prove their case. Let's talk about right now. These people are Jewish. Am I saying that? I'm just making observations. Peacefully, peacefully. I didn't say go get them, go kill them, or any of this other nonsense, or any of this hatred, which they've put my name on their website saying that people like me, using my name specifically, have called for the death and violence against other people. Never happened. It's never happened. I've simply said the word Jew or Jewish and called them that in which they call themselves. And they have to make up these lies. There's no winning. If you say it's all Jews and goddamn them all to hell, they'll leave your video up because then they can point to you as being an evil, hateful person. But even when you're careful, even when you say it's not all Jews, even if you say like this fool, David Icke, who's wrong, even if you say that it's 1 out of 10 of the elites are Jews, then they will still deem you as anti-Semitic. You just cannot say their name. Period. Period. You have to keep in mind here for a moment the reason behind their labeling us as being anti-Semitic. It's essentially to tell us to shut the fuck up. I mean, they don't want us calling them into question no matter what they do. Whether it's 1 Jew, 6 million Jews, I'll put that in quotes, or the whole 14 million of them that are in the world today. Be that, 5 million or 4 million in Israel, and the rest of them are out using us and sending our money and our young men and women and children off to die over their interest. So they don't want us telling anyone what they're doing. Those of us, the very few of us that are aware. And essentially that's what this term is for. It's to silence you. It'll be more later, there'll be some harsh penalties assessed to these terms eventually. I assure you, the pieces of the puzzle are lining up. They have the things, the rules set up, the laws, the bills that are being passed in Congress, House Resolution 1955, 1959, all this other stuff that'll label anyone that's anti-Semitic as being a terrorist, and then you will be treated accordingly. This is where it's all heading. This is the reason why these Israelis, these Jews, are taking our rights away, and they are in fact the ones that are doing this. So that's the purpose, that's the meaning, and that's the reason behind this word. It's to silence us.